Properties of electrons. Properties of electron. So what is the properties of electron? See, electrons have identical mass. Electrons have identical mass. It has identical mass. So that is the first property. So first property of electron. So electrons have it has identical mass. And the second one, they are constituent part of all atoms. They are constituent part of all atoms. It means what? In all the atoms, electrons will be present. It is a mandatory, is it? So in all the atoms, electrons will be present. So it means the second property is telling that one, they are constituent part of all atoms. They are constituent part of constituent part of all atoms. So this is the second property. So yeah, when atom is there means there should be electrons should be present. So that is the second property. And third property, the mass of an electron is 1 by 1837, 1 by, so it's very negligible. Mass of electron is a ratio 1 by 1837 of hydrogen atom. They are comparing the mass of an electron with the hydrogen atom. So it's very negligible. So one hydrogen atom is equal to the 1857. That mass, that hydrogen atom is equal to the 1857. So mass of the electron is very negligible. 1 by 1157. So that is the mass of an electron. The next, so if you express in the 10 to the power 9.108 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. Minus 31 kg. So minus 31 means its mass is very less. Clear? So mass of the electron. So 9.108 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. And next one, the next property, electron carries unit negative charge. So electron, so already know that one has a negative charge, is it? Electron has a negative charge. So electron carries the unit negative charge, means -1. -1. Electrons carry unit negative charge. Electron carries unit negative charge. -1. Electron carries the unit negative charge. And the last property, the fifth property, electron is extremely small. Electron is extremely small. Its radius is less than 1 into 10 to the power of -15 meter. Electrons already know that one. Electron size is very small. So its radius is 1 into 10 to the power of -15 meter. 10 to the power of -15. So its value is very small. Its size is very small. Radius, if you express the radius, its size is 1 into 10 to the power of -15 meter. So these are the properties regarding about the electron. Discovery of proton. So before going to the discovery of proton, atoms, it is electrically neutral. Atoms is electrically neutral. So to become an electrical neutral, so we know that till now atoms consist of negative charge. Till we don't know that positive charge is present in the atom or not. Is it? But we are telling atoms are electrically neutral. When it will become electrically neutral? When positive charge is present in the atom. That time only you can tell atom is electrically neutral. So that's why the proton is also present in the Atom, it is already proved that one atom is electrically neutral because total number of electrons present in the atom, that is equal to the total number of protons. Clear? Total number of electrons present in the atom, that should be equal to the total number of protons. It is already proved that one atom is electrically neutral. It means that atom contains positive charge as well as the negative charge. So how we discovered the proton? So Goldstein discovered the proton. How we discovered? So what the experiment he conducted? So let's see that. Okay. So discovery of proton. Discovery of proton. Same discharge tube I will take. Discharge tube here also. Yes. So in the discovery of the electron, we studied that the cathode rays are coming from the which side? Anode or cathode? Cathode. So now Goldstein discovered the proton. How we discovered the proton? So same discharge tube you used there, but one extra instrument he took that one, that is a perforated cathode. Perforated cathode. Goldstein, what he will observe that one when low pressure is there inside the discharge tube and high voltage is applied. That time he observed that one, the set of rays traveling in a direction opposite to that of cathode rays. So you will observe that one set of rays traveling in the direction opposite to the cathode rays. Opposite to the cathode rays. That is from the anode side. Now rays are coming from the anode side. Okay. Now rays are coming from the anode side, moving towards the cathode. Moving towards the cathode. So he observed that one. So he took one extra instrument, that is a perforated cathode. So same voltage you will apply and under low atmospheric pressure. Okay. Inside discharge tube gas is there. Under low atmospheric pressure, high voltage is applied. So and one more extra instrument, that is a perforated cathode. He observed that one. What he will observe? Set of rays traveling in a direction opposite to the cathode rays. So cathode rays, you know that one, they are coming from this side, is it? From the cathode. They are moving up. That rays, perforated cathode, from the perforated cathode, rays are traveling opposite to the cathode rays. Cathode rays. They are rays. He called that one canal rays. He will call it as a canal rays. Canal rays. So canal rays. He called the rays a canal rays. Okay. He called the rays canal rays since these rays pass through the. Why they are called canal rays? Because the rays are traveling from the. So here is perforated cathode is there now. Here holes are there. So because from the perforated cathode rays are coming now. Because of that reason, he called that one canal or holes. What do you call? Holes. They are coming from the holes here. Here, the perforated cathode hole is there. Hole is there. So the rays are coming from the perforated cathode. Because of that reason, we call that one as a canal rays or holes. Okay. So what we observe there? So one extra instrument, that is a perforated cathode. So some of the set of rays are traveling opposite to the cathode rays. Opposite to the cathode rays. So we know that cathode rays are coming from the cathode. But these canal rays are moving opposite to the cathode rays. So he found that one of the ray is there, that one of the particle is there in the atom, that is a proton. So he conclude that one. So another ray is there, another particle is there in the atom. So that is moving opposite to the cathode rays. So that ray is a canal rays, and he conclude that one they are called protons. And also he found that one by keeping the electric plate. So we kept in the J.J. Thomson kept now to find it is positive or negative. So same thing here also he kept that electrical plate. So the rays are deflected towards the positive end or negative end. Deflected towards the negative end. So here also you will keep the electrical plate. The rays are deflected towards the negative end. So he confirmed that one they are protons. They are positively charged particles, and he called as a protons. Positively charged particle, he called as a proton. So this is discovered by the E. Goldstein. Any doubt is there? So same discharge tube, low atmospheric pressure, high voltage, and one more extra instrument, that is a perforated cathode. So he will apply the voltage. So some of set of rays are traveling opposite to the cathode rays. So it means he observed that he calls it rays as a canal rays because they are emitting from the holes. Canals, they are called canals. Okay. The rays are emitting from the you can see there in your textbook, page number 55. Holes are there in that perforated tube. Okay. So they are emitting from that holes. So because of that reason, we called as the canals or canal rays. Since these rays pass out to the holes are canals in the cathode. So these rays are emitting from the canals or holes. Because of that reason, he called as a canal rays. So and he confirmed that one by keeping the electric plate. That rays are deflected towards the negative end. Negative plate. Okay. So it means, so he confirmed that one. So the atoms consist of positively charged particle, that is proton. Positively charged particle, that is a proton. Next, properties of anode rays. Properties of anode rays. Why I am telling anode rays? So they are emitting from the anode side, is it? From the anode electrode. Anode rays. That's why we call it as anode rays. And it is a positively charged particle. Okay. Positively charged. Cathode means it is a negative. Anode means it is a positive. Keep it in mind. Don't get confused. Okay. Next, properties of anode rays. The first property, anode rays travel in straight lines. So you can look at your textbook there. If you have a textbook, they are moving in a straight. Anode rays are traveling in a straight line. Properties. Anode rays traveling in a straight line. So like this, both sides you can see that straight line. Okay. So anode rays are traveling in a straight line. So and the second property, they consist of minute material particles and hence produce mechanical effects. So we know that one. So atoms consist of subatomic particles. In electrons also minute particles will be present, and in case of protons also minute particles will be present. So because of that reason, minute particle will produce the mechanical effect. The anode rays produce mechanical effect due to presence of minute particle. Due to presence of minute particle. So anode rays, they consist of minute material particles, and hence they produce the mechanical effect. Because of the presence of the minute particles, they produce the mechanical effect. Clear? Next, so the third property, they are made up of positively charged particle. They are made up of positively charged particle. Made up of positively charged particle. They are made up of positively charged particle. Clear? And the next one. So as I told, positive rays are deflected towards the negative end. Is it negative end? From that you can conclude that one it is a positively charged particle. So that is only fourth property. Positive rays are deflected by electric and magnetic fields, but in a direction opposite to that of cathode rays. Cathode rays. So cathode rays, they are deflected towards the negative plate of the electric field. Anode rays are deflected towards the cathode rays are deflected towards the positive end of the electric field. Anode rays are deflected towards the negative end of the electric field. So that is the fourth property. And next, fifth property, these rays produce fluorescence on a zinc sulfide screen. So it means that anode rays will produce fluorescence. These rays produce fluorescence on zinc sulfide. If you use the chemical zinc sulfide, so then if the rays are emitting, then fluorescence will produce. Fluorescent bulbs, you will heard that one, is it? Fluorescent bulbs. So if you use the chemical zinc sulfide, so they will produce the fluorescence on that plate. Clear? Next, their charge to mass ratio. The next property, their ratio, charge to mass ratio. Charge to mass ratio, that is indicated by the sixth one. Charge to mass ratio. E stands for charge. Okay. Charge to mass ratio. Charge to mass ratio. Charge to mass ratio differs from the gas to gas. Its value is much less than that of electron, and is maximum when hydrogen taken is in the discharge tube. So their charge to mass ratio will differ from gas to gas. So we know that in a discharge tube we are using the gas, is it? So their charge to mass ratio, if you take another, now you are taking helium, now that the next time you are taking the neon gas, so their ratio will be not constant. So ratio will be changed, differs from one gas to the another gas. That they are telling. So charge to mass ratio will differ from gas to gas, and its value is much less than that of electron. So its value is much less than that of, it means charge to mass ratio is much less than that of electron. But when compared to the hydrogen, maximum when hydrogen is taken in the discharge tube. So when it is maximum, if you take hydrogen in the discharge tube, that time its charge to mass ratio is maximum. Charge to mass ratio will differ from gas to gas, one gas to the another gas. When it is maximum, if you use the hydrogen gas, that time it will become the maximum. Next, properties of protons. The first property, proton possesses a unit positive charge. So now what you learn, that is the properties of anode rays. Okay. Now properties of proton. So proton possesses a unit positive charge. How you learn the properties of electron? Like properties of proton. So proton possesses a unit positive charge. It possesses unit positive charge means +1. Whereas electron, what about the electron? -1, negative charge, -1, and its so electron, that is -1. Now coming to the point of proton, it possesses a positive charge and its value is 1.602 into 10 to the power of -19. 1.602 into 10 to the power of -19 coulomb. So coulomb, for charge we will use the unit coulomb. Keep it in mind. For charge we will use the unit coulomb. Okay. Coulombs. Clear? So proton possesses the unit positive charge and its value is 1.602 into 10 to the power of -19. -19 coulombs you should tell. Charge is expressed in a coulombs. Clear? Next, its mass is same as that of hydrogen atom. So mass of the proton is same as that of the hydrogen. It means 1837. Mass of hydrogen is same as that of hydrogen. That is 1 AMU. So AMU that is equal to, that is 1837. 1837, or if you express in the powers of 10, 1672 into 10 to the power of -24 gram. 1.672 into 10 to the power of -24 gram. Expressed in the tens power. So its mass is same as that of the hydrogen. Clear? And the last one, proton resides in the central part of an atom. So where it will present, protons will present in the central part of the atom. So protons resides in the central part of an atom, that is the nucleus. So nucleus, you know that, is it? So nucleus that you learned in the, we're going to learn in the next topics. So how we discover nucleus, where it will present in the atom. Okay. So now keep in mind that protons resides in the central part of the atom, that is in the nucleus. So proton is present in the nucleus. So what about the electron? It is present around the nucleus. So proton is present in the center of the nucleus, whereas the electrons, it will revolve around the nucleus. It will not present in the center of the nucleus. Electrons will revolve around the nucleus. Okay, so these are the three properties regarding about the proton. So protons may be defined as subatomic particle having mass 1 AMU. So proton may be defined as subatomic particles having mass 1 AMU. And possess the unit positive charge. Now hydrogen. So what is the difference between the hydrogen atom and proton? Atom and ion. Can you know the difference between the atom and ion? So atom is a neutral in charge. It does not have any charge in it. Whereas the ion, it has a positive or a negative charge. So that is the difference between the atom and an ion. Clear? Atom is electrically neutral, whereas ion is it may have positive charge as a negative charge. Okay. So now look at that. Hydrogen atom. H. Now it is a hydrogen atom. H is a hydrogen atom. By losing an electron, losing the minus sign I am writing now. So by losing an electron, it will gain the positive charge. By losing an electron, it will gain the positive charge. Now this is H plus is there, that is ion. H plus is an ion. After discovery, now proton and electron is discovered. So after the discovery of proton and electron, J.J. Thomson, he gave one model. That model is called plum pudding model. Plum pudding. plum pudding model. So after the discovery of the proton and electron, so again J.J. Thomson gave one model that is called plum pudding model. Okay, so according to this model, an atom is considered to be a sphere. Atom is considered to be a sphere. Uniform positive charge and electrons are embedded into it. So according to him, he considers the atom as a sphere. Atom as a sphere. An atom is considered to be a sphere of uniform positive charge and electrons are embedded into it. It means he considers the atom as a uniform positive charge. Atom is a sphere of uniform positive charge. Electrons are embedded into it. It means electrons are present inside. Look at that. Electrons are present inside into it. So, according to this model, plum pudding model, an atom is considered to be a sphere of uniform positive charge. So, sphere of uniform positive charge and electrons are embedded into it. It means electrons are present inside that sphere. So, that sphere is a uniform positive charge and electrons are present inside into it. So, according to this model. And the second thing, total positive charge is equal to the total negative charge, so that atom as whole is electrically neutral. The total positive charge is equal to the total negative charge, and so I already told that one atom is electrically neutral. So again, according to this model, the J.J. Thomson is telling that one the total positive charge is equal to the total negative charge, so that atom is electrically neutral. It means total number of protons that is equal to the total number of electrons. Okay. So by telling that one, he is telling that atom is electrically neutral. And the last one, the mass of an atom is considered to be uniformly distributed. Mass of an atom is considered to be uniformly distributed. So one atom is there now, so that is same compared with the other atoms present in that element. The mass of an atom is uniformly distributed. One is not more, other one is not small. So mass is uniformly distributed in the atom. So 3 points given by the J.J. Thomson. So the first one, what is telling that one? So according to the plum pudding model, after discovery of the proton and electron, atom is considered to be a sphere of uniform positive charge, and electrons are embedded into it. So you consider that atom is a uniform positive charge and electrons are present inside. Embedded means present inside that uniform sphere of uniform positive charge. And the second point, what is that one? What is telling that the total number of positive charge is equal to the total number of negative charge. So it means atom is electrically neutral. Total number of protons that is equal to the total number of electrons. So atom is electrically neutral. And the last one, the mass of an atom is considered to be uniformly distributed. This is a plum pudding model of atom. Okay.